So, Leo, I did something last night that ruined my entire evening, and it took about 11 seconds.
11 seconds? That's efficient. What happened?
So, I've been learning piano this year. Very slowly, very badly, entirely for fun. And last night, I was scrolling through one of those piano groups online, just relaxing, not looking for anything, and I saw a post. Someone had written, 6 months in, and here's me playing my first full piece. And there was a video. And they were good.
And how did you feel?
Immediately, physically smaller, like someone had let the air out of me. And the ridiculous part is, 10 seconds before that, I had been feeling completely fine about my own playing. Genuinely content. I'd had a nice practice that evening.
So the post didn't tell you anything about yourself, and yet it completely rewrote how you felt about yourself.
In 11 seconds. And I closed my phone and sat there thinking, am I slow? Have I been wasting time? What is that person doing that I'm not? And I want to be clear, nothing about my actual situation had changed. Not one single thing. Only the comparison changed.
And that's the part that gets me, because I know exactly that feeling. And it's the same feeling I hear from English learners constantly. It's never, I can't do this. It's everyone else is doing it faster.
That's it exactly. And it does something really cruel. It takes real progress you were proud of 5 minutes ago, and makes it feel like failure. Nothing changed except the person standing next to you.
And I'd guess you didn't sleep well either.
I lay there planning an entirely new practice schedule at 11 at night based on a stranger's video, which, when you say it out loud, is genuinely absurd.
A stranger's video has restructured my life. And that's exactly what we're fixing today. Hi, everyone. I'm Leo.
And I'm Mia. Welcome to Perspective Peak. Today, we're talking about comparing yourself to other learners, why we do it, why it's almost always unfair, why it genuinely slows you down, and how to get your own progress back.
And this really matters because comparison is one of the main reasons people quit learning English. Not difficulty, not lack of time. They quit because they decided they were behind. And being behind feels hopeless in a way that being slow doesn't. This is exactly what Perspective Peak is here for, growing your habits and your English together.
And don't worry about the English today, friends. This is friendly B1 level. Clear sentences, simple words, spoken at a comfortable speed. Every time we use a stronger word, we'll stop and explain it right away. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be here. So, Leo, why do we even do this? Because nobody wakes up wanting to feel bad about themselves.
Nobody does. And here's the thing, this isn't a personality flaw. It's a very old piece of human wiring. Researchers call it social comparison, the automatic habit of measuring ourselves against the people around us. It's automatic, it's fast, and it happens whether you want it to or not.
So, why would our brains do something so unpleasant?
Because for most of human history, it was genuinely useful. If you lived in a small group of 30 people, knowing where you stood mattered. Who was the better hunter, who needed help, where you fit. Comparison was a survival tool for a village.
And now the village is the entire internet.
The village is 8 billion people, and it's in your packet. And every single one of them is posting their best day. Your brain is still running village software in a world with no walls. So here's my favorite way to picture it. Imagine you're running a race, and you're doing well. And then you glance sideways, and the person next to you is on a bicycle.
That's not a race anymore.
It's not, but your brain doesn't say, different vehicle, invalid comparison. Your brain just says, you're losing. And here's the key idea for today. Almost every comparison you make is missing the information that would explain the difference. You're comparing your whole reality to someone else's headline. So today, we're going to learn how to spot that and how to get back into your own race.
Beautiful. Okay, let me tell you about the person who taught me the hard way. Not a student, a friend of mine years ago when I was still learning English myself.
Go on.
So there was this woman in my class, I'll call her Nadia, and she was genuinely incredible. She spoke faster than everyone, she never seemed nervous, she'd make jokes in English while the rest of us were still building sentences. And I spent about 4 months quietly comparing myself to her and feeling terrible.
4 months is a long time to carry that.
It was exhausting. And then one day, we were having coffee, and she mentioned completely casually, like it was nothing, that she'd lived in an English-speaking country for 3 years as a teenager.
3 years?
3 years of daily immersion that I had known nothing about. And Leo, I had been comparing my 2 years of evening classes to her 3 years of living inside the language and concluding that I was slow.
You weren't slow. You were reading half the information.
Half the information and all of the guilt. And what really gets me looking back is how specific my conclusions were. I didn't just think, she's ahead of me. I thought, I must not have a good ear. Maybe I started too late. Maybe some people just have a talent for this and I don't. I built an entire theory about myself out of one missing fact.
And that theory probably followed you into every conversation.
It did. I spoke less because of it. And here's the science behind this, and it's genuinely important. Researchers who study comparison have found that we compare outcomes, because outcomes are what we can see. But the things that actually cause the outcome, how long someone's been at it, their circumstances, their exposure, their advantages, those are almost always invisible.
So we see the finished cake and not the recipe, the oven, or the 4 failed attempts.
Or the fact that they own a professional bakery. Exactly. And once I knew about Nadia's 3 years, my feeling changed instantly, not because my English changed, but because the missing information arrived. So the lesson is, when someone seems far ahead of you, you are almost certainly missing a piece of their story, not because they're hiding it, because it's simply not visible. Before you feel behind, remember, you're reading a summary, not the full book.
Okay, breather, because I'm now genuinely annoyed on your behalf about Nadia.
Thank you. 4 months! She was lovely, though. That's the worst part. I couldn't even resent her properly.
Deeply inconvenient of her. Okay, my turn. And mine is about something even sneakier because it doesn't involve knowing anything about the other person at all.
Ooh, tell me.
So here's the scenario, and I think everyone listening will recognize it. You watch a video of someone speaking beautiful English, smooth, confident, no hesitation, and you feel that little drop in your stomach. Now, what are you actually comparing?
They're speaking to my speaking?
Not quite. You're comparing their best recorded moment to your average live moment. They had time to prepare. They possibly recorded it 4 times. They edited out the pauses. And you're measuring that against yourself unprepared, in real time, in a supermarket holding a shopping basket.
That's completely unfair, and I've never once noticed I was doing it.
Nobody notices. And there's a well-documented version of this in psychology. We compare our inside to other people's outside. You know all of your own hesitations, your nerves, the sentence you wanted to say and couldn't. You know none of theirs. So you're comparing a full, honest, messy interior to a polished exterior.
And the polished exterior always wins because it was designed to.
It was literally designed to. And this is even truer on wine, where everything you see has been selected. Nobody posts, "Here's me forgetting a basic word in front of a shop assistant today." Everyone posts the certificate. So the internet isn't showing you other learners, it's showing you other learners' highlights.
A highlight reel with no bloopers.
Never any bloopers. And think about what that does over time. If you watch 50 highlight reels a week, your brain slowly builds a picture of what normal looks like. And that picture is made entirely of other people's best moments. So now your average feels like failing because you're measuring against an average that doesn't exist anywhere in real life.
Oh, that's what does the damage. Not one post, the accumulation.
The accumulation quietly over months. And here's what changed it for me. I started asking one question whenever I felt that drop. What am I not seeing? Not to feel better, just to be accurate. And the answer is always quite a lot. So the lesson is, you are comparing your unedited life to someone else's edited moment. And that comparison can never be fair. It isn't that you're losing, it's that you're not even looking at the same kind of thing.
So good. And, quick pause because I want to tell you where we're going. Because in a few minutes, I'm going to explain something that genuinely shocked me. Comparison doesn't just feel bad, it actually makes you learn worse. There's a real mechanism behind it, and once you know it, you'll understand why the people who compare least often improve fastest. So stay with us.
Ooh, that's a good one. But first, can we talk about the comparison that nobody warns you about? The one that isn't about other people at all.
Not about other people? Now I'm curious.
So here's the scenario. Imagine you have a really good English day. Everything flows. You say things you didn't know you could say. You walk away thinking, I've got this.
A magical day.
A magical day. And then 3 days later, you have a completely ordinary day. You stumble, you forget an easy word, and what do you think?
I've gone backwards.
I've gone backwards, and you haven't. You're comparing yourself to your own best day, which by definition is not your normal level. Your best day is the top of your range, not your average.
That's such a specific trap. So we do it to ourselves, even with nobody else in the room?
Even alone in the kitchen. And here's the science. Your ability on any given day moves up and down depending on tiredness, stress, how comfortable you feel, how much sleep you got, even how much you like the person you're talking to. It's a range, not a fixed point. But we take the best day as the real me and then treat every normal day as a failure.
That's like measuring your running speed on the one day you were being chased by a dog.
Well, I did it once, so that's my baseline now. And then being disappointed forever.
And I imagine this is worse for learners than for most people, isn't it? Because a good English day feels like evidence, like you finally proved something.
That's exactly why it hurts so much. A good day doesn't feel like a good day. It feels like a reveal. This is who I really am. I've arrived. And then the ordinary day feels like the mask coming off. But it's backwards. The ordinary day isn't the truth, and the good day isn't the lie. They're both just points on the same line.
So the honest answer is somewhere in the middle.
The honest answer is the whole range, moving slowly upward. But the lesson here is genuinely freeing. Your good days and your rough days are both you. The rough days aren't proof that the good day was fake. They're just the bottom of the same range. And the whole range moves up over time, quietly, even though you're only ever looking at the top of it.
So good. Okay, now the thing I promised. Because everything we've said so far is about comparison being unfair. But there's something worse. It's expensive.
Expensive how?
It costs you actual learning. So here's the mechanism, and it genuinely surprised me. When you feel behind, you feel a low-level threat, a small, constant, I'm not good enough hum. And researchers have found that when your brain is in that state, it shifts resources toward managing the feeling and away from the slower, careful thinking you need for learning something new.
Oh, so the comparison itself takes up the space you needed for the English.
Exactly. And there's a second cost that's even more direct. When you feel behind, what do you do in a conversation?
You go quiet.
You don't risk the sentence.
You go quiet. You avoid speaking because you're scared of confirming what you already believe about yourself. And avoiding speaking is the single fastest way to actually stay behind. So the belief creates the behavior, and the behavior creates the result.
That's a genuinely vicious little circle.
It's horrible. And it explains something I've seen over and over. The learners who improve fastest are almost never the most talented ones. They're the ones who are least worried about how they compare. They just talk badly, happily, constantly, and they overtake everyone.
Because they're spending their energy on the language instead of on the scoreboard.
All of it on the language. And there's something almost funny about it. The people most worried about being behind are usually the ones putting in the most effort. That worry is a sign of caring, but it takes a cut of everything you do.
So the very thing that shows you're serious is also slowing you down.
Which is deeply unfair, yes. So the lesson is, comparison isn't just an unpleasant feeling, it's a tax on your learning. Every unit of energy you spend measuring yourself against someone else is energy that didn't go into speaking, listening, or trying. Being unbothered isn't just nicer, it's genuinely faster.
So good, Mia. Okay, peak performers, let's turn all this into something you can actually use. Our step-by-step action plan. 4 steps to get out of the comparison trap. Step 1. Ask, what am I not seeing before you feel behind? Here's what to do. The moment you notice that drop in your stomach, pause and deliberately list what you don't know about that person. How long they've studied, where they've lived, what their day actually looks like. Why does this work? Because comparison happens automatically and instantly. But this question is deliberate and slow beats automatic.
For example, when you see fluent in 6 months, ask whether they had daily immersion, a partner who speaks English, or another language behind them. And a common mistake is trying to argue yourself out of the feeling emotionally, telling yourself, don't be silly, you're fine. Don't argue, just add the missing information, and the feeling deflates on its own.
Step 2. Compare yourself only to your own past self with evidence. Here's what to do. Pick one fixed reference point from your own history. An old voice recording, an old notebook, an old message you wrote in English. Return to that instead of other people. Why does this work? Because your brain overwrites your old level as you improve, so your past self always feels closer than it really was.
For example, read a message you wrote in English a year ago and notice everything you'd fix now. And the common mistake here is comparing yourself to your past self from memory. Memory is a terrible witness. It quietly makes you better than you were. Use something you can actually look at.
Step 3. Cut the feed that makes you feel small. Here's what to do. For 2 weeks, mute, unfollow, or simply stop opening the accounts and groups where people post progress updates that leave you deflated. Why does this work? Because you can't reason your way out of a comparison you keep re-triggering 50 times a day. Removing the input is far easier than managing the reaction.
And notice this isn't about resentment. Those people did nothing wrong. It's about protecting your attention while it's fragile. For example, if one group consistently ruins your mood, leave it for a month and see how you feel. The common mistake is thinking you should be strong enough to handle it. You don't need to be strong enough. You need to be learning, and that's easier with less noise.
And step 4, spend the energy on speaking instead of scoring. Here's what to do. Whenever you catch yourself measuring, redirect that exact moment into producing something, even something tiny. Say one sentence out loud, write one line, send one voice message. Why does this work? Because comparison and production use the same limited attention, and only one of them actually moves you forward.
For example, right after seeing a post that made you feel behind, describe your own day out loud in English for 30 seconds. It turns a moment of self-doubt into a moment of practice. And the common mistake is waiting until you feel confident before you practice. Confidence isn't the ticket, it's the souvenir. It arrives afterwards.
4 steps. Ask what you're not seeing. Compare only to your own past self with evidence. Cut the feed that shrinks you, and spend the energy on speaking instead of scoring.
And notice not one of them says, just don't compare yourself, because that advice is completely useless. It's like telling someone not to think about a red door.
Simply stop having a human brain. Thank you. Very helpful. Okay, peak performers, it's time for everyone's favorite part, the extended vocabulary corner. 5 useful words and phrases from today. Word number 1, to compare. To compare means to look at 2 things and see how they're similar or different. And notice, comparing isn't bad by itself. It's what you compare that matters. Mia, give us an example.
Sure. I stopped comparing my English to hers and started enjoying my own progress.
And mine, don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle.
Word number 2, behind. If you feel behind, you feel like you're slower or later than other people. It's a feeling, not a fact. And today's whole point is that it's usually based on missing information. Leo, give us an example.
Sure. I felt behind for months until I found out she'd been learning for twice as long.
And mine, feeling behind usually means you're comparing, not failing.
Word number 3, a lovely one, at your own pace. If you do something at your own pace, you do it at the speed that's right for you, not the speed someone else sets. Mia, give us an example.
Sure. I'm learning at my own pace, and honestly, it's working.
And mine, there's no deadline. Go at your own pace.
Word number 4, to focus on. To focus on something means to give it your attention instead of other things. Today, it means choosing your own progress over the scoreboard. Leo, give us an example.
Sure. I decided to focus on speaking more instead of measuring myself.
And mine, focus on what you can control. Everything else is noise.
And word number 5, a warm B2 word, journey. Your journey is your whole path of learning over time, including the slow parts, the mistakes, and the days nothing worked. Mia, give us an example.
Sure. Everyone's language journey looks different, and that's completely fine.
And mine, don't judge your journey by someone else's photograph of theirs.
5 powerful words: compare, behind, at your own pace, focus on, and journey. Use even one this week, and it's yours forever. And here's a little challenge that's also practice, and it takes 30 seconds. Think of one thing you can do in English today that you couldn't do a year ago. Say it out loud in English right now. That's your real measuring stick.
So here's the big lesson of today, friends. Comparison feels like information, but it's almost always missing the most important parts. You see outcomes and not causes, highlights and not bloopers, other people's outsides and your own inside. And it doesn't just hurt, it quietly takes energy that belonged to your learning. So get accurate. Use your own past self as the ruler and put the energy back into speaking.
And please, be patient and kind with yourself. If you've been carrying that I'm behind feeling for a while, I want you to hear this clearly. There is no schedule. Nobody handed you a deadline. You are allowed to learn this at the speed of your actual life, with your job, your family, your tiredness, your everything.
And Mia, did you ever go back to that piano post?
I did, actually, the next morning. And I read the comments this time. And someone had asked them about their background, and it turned out they'd played violin for 12 years as a child before ever touching a piano.
12 years.
12 years of invisible foundation under a 6-month headline. And I sat there thinking about how many hours I'd lost feeling small over an incomplete sentence. And it's the exact same thing with English. Someone tells you 6 months, and the 6 years underneath never make it into the post. So now, whenever that drop comes, I just ask the question, what am I not seeing? And the answer every single time is more than I think.
And tell us in the comments, have you ever felt behind because of someone else's progress? And what's one thing you can do in English now that you couldn't do a year ago? Write it in English, mistakes and all. This is the perfect place to practice. We can't wait to read every single one and reply to you.
Subscribe, hit the bell, and start thinking deeper while you see higher. Keep learning, keep growing.
See you next week on Perspective Peak.
Perspective peak, yeah, we set the pace. Moving to the top, we win the race. We win the race. Perspective peak, start thinking deeper while you see higher.